¿Qué pasó, mi gente? It's Mark Tip 25 otra vez. Welcome to El Chuco Sportscast, episode 7. I'm Mark, and that's my brother Mario. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's just great to be done with school finally.
Yeah, man, it's always a good thing. But yeah, last week we talked some more about Dak, and then we talked about our favorite sports moments. This week we're gonna talk again some more about some sports moments, but we're talking about your all sports moments, the ones that you all commented within either the comment section of the video or the comment section of like my statuses or even in private chats. But yeah, in the future, guys, if you do comment on stuff, please do it in the video. I'm trying to get more, traffic towards my videos, just so we can build the channel a little bit more. If you don't have a YouTube account, create one. It's really easy. You don't have to create videos yourself, but just so you can like comment and even watch other videos, and it's really good to have. Even when I wasn't creating videos, having a YouTube like account was great to have. So yeah, just if you can't do it because you don't have an account, just make one. It's free. You don't have to worry about anything of that nature unless you do a Prime account. But otherwise, yeah, just create a channel of your own, or just get an account. But overall, we're gonna start with some of the comments that we have here as far as what their favorite sports moments were. So right here, we have Robert, and he said Romo recovering a fumble caused by the center lineman and then running nearly 40 yards for a first down. And I believe that one, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember what team that was. He has it here in the video.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was absolutely crazy. But for someone like him to, finally get the first down after being chased all that way, I mean, I give him credit for that. I just wish he would do that a little bit. I wish he did that a little bit more when it really counted,
Yeah, well, that was against the Rams. I was trying to remember who it was. He gave me the video. I'm not going to post the videos because I really don't see the point. But yeah, like the it was against the Rams, and yeah, I mean, Romo, again, as I stated last time, he had his moments where he was really good. I just wish he would do that more often, because there are times like he would run and then he would just do a random pass at the end. It's like, why would you do that? You had 5 yards away from the first down. Just fucking take it. Why would you throw it in that point? Sometimes it worked and it was all cool and shit, but there are times that it either ended in an incomplete pass, an interception, or just fucking thrown away. Like, just, I don't know. That's why I personally like running quarterbacks. I know people don't agree with that whole ideal of a running quarterback, but it's definitely better than the alternative, just fucking standing there and getting tackled. And that's another thing. This year, I don't know why Dak did that, because there were moments instead of running, he would just sit there in the pocket and get tackled instead of either running like he usually did in the previous seasons, or throw it away. And he has to get back to that. But also, if the run's not there, throw it away, because that's another reason why things didn't progress, because he wouldn't throw it away. And I understand,
like I told you,
he's a big dude, and he can take the hits, but that's not the point. The point is to move the ball.
Well, like I told you last time, it was, they were trying to make him a pocket passer, and it's that's not his thing. Like I said, I mentioned this before. He's a mobile quarterback, and he's proven him to be that, and he's shown that. And I just felt that Garrett at the time were trying to make him just a pocket passer and just throw the ball. And it's like, no, dude, don't do that to him. That's not what he does. And even though I know he needs to improve on his throwing, but that's not him. That's not his style of playing. That's part of it. Now, should he have maybe done more audibles and changed up, because like, oh, it's not going to work? Maybe, but I think he would have caused a lot of issues between Garrett and Jones and all that, being defiant about it. But it's like, well, he's the quarterback at the end of the day. He's the one calling the shots on the field. Allow him to do that. Don't
Yeah, but
don't
then
turn him into
also,
something he's not.
yeah, but again, he should still throw it away when there's nothing there, and there are times he wouldn't. So he needs to do that
No, of
more often.
course. No,
Yeah.
of course. I know that.
So okay, he had more than one moment. He had Roy Williams, but see, I don't understand why Robert thought these were like good moments. Like these are like Roy Williams injuring 4 people with horse collar, changing the game for everyone. And I understand, like, yeah, that's a game-changing deal, but I don't see how that's a favorite moment. Like you're injuring people. Same thing. He also said Lawrence Taylor slamming Joe Theismann, breaking his leg in half, ending his career. Like we're talking about favorite moments, like really good moments, not fucking like killing people. I mean,
As,
I guess look, he's a Cowboys fan like us, but you guys need to understand, like, we should not want people to be injured. And I'm pretty certain he didn't mean it in that way, but it's just at the same time, like, why is that your favorite moment? You know what I mean? Why is Joe Theismann getting injured by Lawrence Taylor being your favorite moment?
I
Like
mean, I
that's
wouldn't.
nobody should want that. Poor Joe Theismann, man. That guy was a heck of a quarterback, and his career got ended by a horrible leg injury. That's just sad, dude.
It
But
was
yeah,
a significant moment in history for sure, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't put that as a favorite moment. That's just kind of messed up, man.
dude. Like, but see, like, think about it. Imagine if Joe Theismann had that not happened to him, dude. Like, imagine where the Redskins would have been. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Redskins win the Super Bowl the year before?
I believe so. Yes, I have to go back
I
and look
might
at
have to
it.
double check, but if that's the case, that fucking sucks, dude. Like, that could have led to multiple Super Bowls for the Redskins, and he fucking destroyed this man's career. Like, pretty much killed a fucking franchise for a while.
Yeah, man. That's why football's even though they've kind of, as I say, dumbed it down with all these rules and regulations and policies to try to protect players. And there's nothing wrong with protecting players, but I feel that uh, because of this, players have gotten soft and become more of prima donnas because of it. But at the same time, it's like, well, look at Theismann, for example. If he had, yeah, I mean, if that, that injury ended his career, and he's not the only one. Many others have had that kind of horrible injury, and it's a career end. That's why these rules and policies are put in place, because you grow and you learn to try to make the game safer for players so that it reduces the amount of injuries that happen on the field. Will it completely eliminate them? Absolutely not. It's not possible. It's still a physical, full contact sport. But at the same time, you try to limit to where injuries you try to limit the possibility of severe injuries happening.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, they did win the Super Bowl the previous year. Dude, that
Yeah,
fucking sucks.
yeah, it does. But that's why, it's, some will never be happy with these rules because they think it's making them soft, and then some are like, no, it's appropriate.
Well, I mean,
Some are
yeah.
appropriate, yes.
I mean, there has to be a middle ground. Like, people are getting killed. Like they're dying from these concussions, dude. And I understand
Oh
it's a
yeah,
tough sport, and yeah, you get what you get what you pay for. It is technically not what the phrase I should be using, but you know what I mean. Like, you decided to play that sport knowing that it was tough, so you kind of got what you deserved in that regard. But I don't entirely agree with that, because there could be better ways to prevent that from happening, and rules like that definitely help. However,
well,
it is kind of screwing with the flow of the game, because now if you barely, like, especially with Tom Brady, dude, you barely tap that guy and it was a flag. And that cannot happen. If it's a good hit that was not illegal, then that shouldn't matter. It should be it shouldn't be a flag. But I don't
No,
know.
I agree.
So again, there has to
No,
be a middle ground with that thing.
well, of course, it has to be a middle ground, but it's like with Tom Brady as the example, you can tell that there is a complete and utter double standard there. It's like, he's got, yes, you want to protect players, especially the quarterbacks, because they're more prone to being injured because that's what the defensive players are going towards. They're going after the quarterback because he's got the ball. But at the same time, it's like you cannot forget you're still a football player. You got to be able to handle and take that kind of punishment as well. But like you said, as far as concussions, that's a serious thing, man. A lot of players that suffer from it, and then later after they retire, experience a lot of health and mental problems. That's a serious thing. That's why when they made that movie about the doctor that blew the whistle about how severe concussions are, and the NFL tried to bury it, that's bravo to him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have the concussion protocol we have now in the NFL, to where once you see like, oh, he's got a concussion, okay, take him out of the game. That's it. He's we don't want him, because even afterwards, people can die from concussions. Sometimes right after or years later, it affects. But you can't be too safe when it comes to someone's health. I know you want to. Some players want to. No, I want to be out there. There's some players that play. Some players that have injury, yes, but at the same time, I amend that. That is amendable. That's admirable for players to fight through injury, but I don't do it at the risk of permanently hurting yourself and to a point where you could end your career. You got to be smart about that when it comes to injuries. Like,
Yeah, and
look,
see,
is it worth it?
no, I agree, but and see, that's why, and this is still a touchy subject because of his passing, but with Kobe, like that's the thing. He injured himself trying to keep their season alive, and at what cost? He was not really the same after he injured himself. He probably could have had a few more really good years in him if he was smart about it and just, you know, not not go so hard. And,
Right.
and considering that the season was already a loss with Dwight Howard being injured and like with his back, and Steve Nash being in and out of the rotation due to injury himself, and even Powell, I think even Powell that season was injured. If he had not gone so hard, I bet you his career would have extended itself for the better
Yeah.
even. But after that, yeah, I
Yeah.
just and I agree. It's admirable that you put yourself on the line for your team. But again, you have yourself to look after too. And that's why people should not get so angry at Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi Leonard was smart about, keeping healthy and making sure he doesn't hurt himself so he can extend his career. And
Yeah,
people
I
will talk
agree with
shit
that.
about it, and well, he may never get a season MVP because of it. But if it ends up that where he remains healthy is good for the playoffs and fucking wins multiple championships, so be it. I'd rather that be the case than him get injured and cut his career short and hardly play ever again. Like that, you know what I mean? That just doesn't sound like
Yeah.
a good existence.
I think of it like this. If you see your teammate going out of his way to the point where, he runs himself ragged, where he comes down with an illness or injures himself badly, then that should light a fire under your ass and say, I got to step it up, man. He's just putting everything on the line, and what the hell am I doing? Because I'm not
I
saying that's not everybody. There's some players that do that. They that's a wake up call. Like, oh man, I want to lose him. He's one of our best players. We got to step up. We gotta support him. And it's just, I feel that too many times, like you said, what happened to Kobe and other players like that. It's like, bro, you guys got to step up. Look what he's doing. He's playing sick. He's playing hurt. It's like, you guys got to step up. And unfortunately, not everybody as a team, as a unit does, and that's what can be frustrating.
well, it's partially that, but it's also the fact that sometimes they just aren't talented enough. Like, I'm sad to say, and it sounds messed up, but there's just some players that are not talented enough to carry a team like that. So that's just, it is what it is.
I mean, true, but that even then, some players with not a lot of talent, if they put the work in to really improve themselves, you'd be surprised. So that's even then, that should not be an excuse, especially in the moment, like right there in the game or when the season is faltering. So that's why it should never be an excuse, even though it's hard. I'm not going to say it's not, but it should never be an excuse. Like, okay, I may not be as talented as him. He's our best player, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let him hurt himself and and us not do anything about it. So
No,
that's
I
why
understand,
I
and
feel
that's
like
commendable.
no.
But like, again, there's just players that don't have the talent enough to do that. Like, even if like, I understand they're all NBA players and they should be able to step up, but sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes you can only do what you can do to the best of your abilities. But I do agree to an extent that maybe Kobe should have trusted in his teammates a little bit more. But see, I don't know,
Well,
because see,
yeah,
that becomes a
that
very weird debate in itself. And that goes
well,
for all superstars, really.
that's also a part of it too. Trust. If you know if the guy that's busting his ass to the point of injury doesn't have enough trust in his other fellow teammates to help him, then there's a problem. Meaning, he's like, you gotta. That's why those guys got to go the extra mile to show him, hey, no, you can trust us to help you when you're struggling. That's why we're a team.
Hmm.
So yes, it's a tough one, but that's also a factor as well. Trust.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. And it was kind of the same thing with Kevin Durant, really. Kevin Durant, like, he tried to come back for the NBA Finals to try to give the Warriors a chance. And again, it's commendable, but dude, at what cost? What if he's never the same again when he comes back next season? Like, he sat out this whole entire season to get healthy for an Achilles injury. And like, a lot of times with people that have Achilles injuries, they're hardly ever the same. Like, Dominique Wilkins is like kind of an outlier, but even then he wasn't like 100% the same. He was still a decent player, but and I guess the idea that Kevin Durant, even though he was kind of athletic, he also is a very finesse type player because he can shoot the ball. He will still be at least a decent player in that regard, but I mean, that's still a huge element of his game, like being like able to run and jump to, like, get rebounds and dunk the ball and all that shit. Like, if he's not the same, he kind of fucked up his career for nothing in that regard. He and I know that sounds fucked, but it's like he screwed up his career if he does not come back healthy for a losing cause, because they ended up not winning that series. So I don't know. It's just stuff like that. You kind of have to put things into perspective. Like, do you want to have a more fruitful career, or do you want to fuck up your career just to like save face for one championship? And that's hard because that's a lot of pressure to put on a guy. And
Well, yeah, but you got to remember, it's in the moment. It's emotions run high. It's like, man, I got to do everything I can to help my team get to the top. And yes, it's hard. Especially, that's why you got to have trust in your fellow teammates to be able to get the job done without you if you're this big superstar. And that's hard sometimes. But like you said, you got to be smart. If you get injured to the point where it's like, bro, if you keep playing like with this injury, it could permanently damage you to where you will never be the same again. And a lot of people, it all depends. Like I said, emotions run high, and they think, you know what, I'll take my chances if it's all for getting to the top. And it's heartbreaking when you don't. So that's why you got to be smart. We all have to be able to take our losses and learn from them and save the fight for another day, healthy.
yeah,
So yeah,
I
it's
understand, but there's another element to that because of the whole thing with him joining Golden State to begin with. Everybody saw it as a very weak move. and a lot of people didn't respect his move to go to Golden State, and they to this day still don't respect the fact that he won those 2 championships and MVPs in Golden State. A lot of people will say, "Oh, that those rings don't mean shit because he joined a super team."
Okay, and
I don't know, dude. Like I see, I agree. A championship's a championship no matter what, and I understand. Yes, he had a lot of help, and it does kind of tarnish it in a sense because of the fact that he joined a 73-9 team. But people need to understand, it wasn't the exact same team. Like they had to give up a lot of pieces to get Durant. They gave up Harrison Barnes, Andrew Bogut, Leandro Barbosa.
yeah,
They gave up a lot of pieces.
but it's not like he, didn't put the work in during the season to, to get there. He did. I mean, it's not like he was working off the backs of everyone else. He's no slouch. What's the word? He's not the one to lay
Right.
down
He wasn't
and
riding people's
not put the work
coattails.
in. I mean, when he was with OKC, he got to the finals in 2012. It's not like he was, riding the coattails of his teammates. They put the work in. They may not have won, but they still got there. So it's not like he was. It's not like he's not like he's being a lazy ass about it. He put the work in, just as you said, and he earned it. That's why I'm like, look, at the end of the day, players are going to do what's best for them to have a fruitful career and, of course, win the championship. And he thought, they're looking to have him, so he took the opportunity. And look, it paid off. He won 2 titles with them. So at the end of the day, why do you care what a player does? He's going to do it. Anyone is going to do what they have to do in order to make a living and be successful. What's wrong with that?
Well, because
So
again, it's this
people are
older
just gonna hate
mindset.
just to hate.
Well, I agree, but it's this old mindset that he wasn't competitive enough because he joined a team that A, beat him in the conference finals, and B, was already a championship team / contending team. So he took the easiest way out instead of like going to possibly Boston or San Antonio or one of those other teams. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Right.
again, it's like, okay, say you're given a job offer. Like you have a few different job offers, but there's one job offer that is like a management position, high grade level payment, like nice corner office with a view, and a bunch of perks like insurance paid,
All the bells and whistles.
paid
Yeah.
vacation, everything. Would you turn that shit down? No, you wouldn't turn that down. So why are you giving KD shit for turning down a great opportunity like going to the Warriors? He was a free agent. He is free to do what he feels. No, like people gave shit to LeBron for going to Miami for a good reason because he joined 2 superstar players. But everyone says it's not the same thing because, oh, well, that team is even better than LeBron's Miami Heat. And yeah, they are, but it's still in principle, it's still the same move. It's still the same move. Just because you have little extra details like, oh, well, this team beat him, so if you can't beat him, join him, that's a weak mindset. That doesn't matter. The point of the matter is they both went to teams that would give them a better opportunity to win championships. But at that right now, KD is no longer with Golden State. He's with the Nets. If he wins one with the Nets, like if he wins a championship with the Nets, that this whole shit about him being weak-minded or that he wouldn't have been able to do it anywhere else is fucking bullshit, and that needs to die down. And that, oh, his other rings don't count. Bullshit. All rings count. Do you think LeBron, LeBron James may prefer the 2016 finals a little bit more because of what he did, but he's not going to sit here and say, oh, my, I don't give a shit about my other 2 rings. Because then he'd only be a one-time champion by that logic. It's like, no. He's a 3-time champion, period.
Yeah, man.
KD is a 2-time champion, period. But yeah, that's neither here or there. We kind of got off track about that that whole deal because we was mainly about injuries. No one wishes injury upon anybody. Players should always look after themselves first. I understand they want to be competitive, but they should always look after themselves first. To kind of sum up that whole conversation,
Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, players along the league, you know, most of them are good friends. You know, a lot of them played in college together, and then some became friends when they joined when they joined the NBA. So it's like, bro, why are you gonna hold? Why do you think players are gonna hold something over each other's heads just because of one game or whatever? No, it's like, bro, they're all in the same league. They all play the same sport that
Well,
they
but
love. They're
it's not.
gonna eventually they eventually break relationships to where they want to grow. It's like, hey, I want to play with you, and some work out, some don't. But it's like, why do we have to be so tribal about it?
Well, it's
If he's gonna
because
make a move, yeah, he's gonna make a move to better his career. Fine, good. God bless him. Good for him. You know, that's like with anything, anybody.
but it
You're
wasn't
gonna
like
try
that
to
back
make the
then.
right move. I know, like, but that was then. This is now. Now people, people a little bit more open minded to that. It's like, bro,
Not
it's like, you want to come
everybody.
over here? Hey, we're open. Not,
Well,
of course, not everybody,
but
but
see, but that's what I'm
people
saying.
are
Back in the
open
day,
minded.
especially older players, they didn't like that because you have people like Bird that would not have joined Magic Johnson. You don't have people like Michael Jordan who would have joined the Bad Boys Pistons. You don't have, and those are the arguments. And to an extent, I agree. I understand the mindset of being ultra competitive that you're not going to join those other teams. But some of those players ended up not winning rings because of that. And let's not sit here and pretend that Clyde Drexler stayed in Portland his entire career. He fucking won a ring with Olajuwon. Like, because again, people nowadays, they like to belittle winning rings. And that's
Oh,
stupid
that's
to
so
me.
stupid.
It's stupid to me
No,
because that's the whole point. That's why they play the game. And again, I understand the Robert Horry argument is not a good argument. Robert Horry won 7 championships as a player, but he was a role player in every single one of those. Granted, he was a very important role player because he bailed out some teams in those runs, but it's still not the same thing as Jordan winning 6 championships. And people need to understand when we're talking about the greatest of all time as a debate, we're not talking about role players. We're talking about the player that led that team. Yeah, you could probably talk about the pieces that they had around them to kind of build an argument like who had more help, who had less help, maybe. But even then, Robert Horry was not a captain of his team. Michael Jordan was. Bill Russell was. LeBron James was. You know what I mean? We're not going to sit here and say that Jason Kidd is the greatest of all time because yes, he had some good moments. He's taken teams to the finals a couple times, but on that third time, he was technically a role player. He wasn't even an all-star anymore. He was a decent piece, but he wasn't the main reason they won. It was mainly Dirk, Terry, and Tyson Chandler. Like Jason Kidd and Sean Marion were pretty much afterthoughts by that point. They were still good players, and they did what they needed to do. But you can't sit here and make that argument. Like,
well, that's why. Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's why it's a team sport, and all those pieces. There's no I in team like they. That's why.
okay, but yes,
Just because the superstar is the face of the team, yes, they're going to look at him, but you cannot diminish the guys around him or whoever it is that put the work in to get there. Because without
well,
them,
a lot of people
he
do
wouldn't
that
have
with
been
LeBron.
those players. I know they do, but that's wrong. That's stupid. You got to give all the pieces around, say, LeBron at the time when he was with the Heat, the time he was with the Cavs when they won it. They got to give him credit because without them, he would have never won. Period. End of story. It's like, come on, guys. You guys all, like I said, we're always looking at the superstars that stood out as like leading the team, but all those other pieces around him that formed the team were crucial to getting to the top. So that's why it's like, look, okay, so Robert Horry has 7 rings. They may not be as significant as Jordan's 6 because he didn't lose a single finals. But bro, like you said, he helped him when he needed to. he played the part in order for them to succeed. So his rings are just as important as Jordan's are.
No,
Everyone that
but
has earned a ring,
no,
I
but
mean,
see,
come on, they've earned them.
yeah, he earned them, and for his own sake, yes, they're important to him. But on the sake of who is the greatest of all time, that doesn't bode well because he was a role player.
I
And
don't.
people. So in essence, like, who's the
I'm
better
not talking about
player
the
all
greatest of all
time?
time.
No, but that's what I'm saying. A lot of people use that as an argument of like why rings don't really matter, which is not
No, that's
entirely
stupid.
true. Because so you're saying that Robert Ory's a better player than Michael Jordan? He's the greater player because he has 7 rings? No, nobody is saying that. And if you are, that's not a good argument. Yes, his rings are important in regards to
Oh,
himself as a he was. If we're gonna say I can at least attest to this. The fact that he was there for that long and won 7 championships is a testament to his work ethic. So I can at least say he's probably one of the greatest role players of all time. But he's
all right. If you
definitely not
want to
the
get
greatest
technical
player.
about that, yeah. If you want to get that technical about it, as far as specifics, sure. But it's like at the end of the day, man, everybody earned on those championships teams. It's not like, oh, he did all the work and he earned it. No, everybody did the work and they
Well,
all
except the
earned that
people
ring
that
together.
were on the bench and like hardly, like the players that like hardly played any minutes. I mean, you can't really say that they earned that ring. I mean, yeah, they worked hard in practice and shit, but
You don't think that they try to work their ass off to try
no,
to
but
get on
see,
that
it's not
court?
the same thing as like, okay, as much as I really like Jeremy Lin, are we going to say that Jeremy Lin is better than Reggie Miller because Jeremy Lin has a ring
I
and
never said he was.
but no, but see, that's the art. That's what I'm saying. That I'm trying to put it into context so you can understand that Jeremy Lin, although I liked him and he was great with Linsanity, he was not the better. He's not a better player than Reggie Miller because he has a ring. Reggie Miller is definitely the better player. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm
That
not trying to diminish him. I mean, the ones that have never won a title that should have, they're great players, and because they put the work in, it's just it didn't bear fruit. Their time just didn't bear fruit when I feel that
well,
they should
because
have. I
some of
mean,
those players had to play against Jordan, and some other players had to play against LeBron or Kobe or Duncan. But that what I'm saying is like there are definite players that you don't give a shit about if they have rings or not. But for the ones that actually put in the effort, that actually had decent stats to back up their championship, that does matter at that point. Like, I don't know. That's
yeah,
just how I see it. And but for people to sit here and say that rings don't matter or that us like it's not all about the rings. Yeah, there are other aspects, but that's what they play for. In the end, that's all that matters. Winning a championship. But okay, we've
I mean
kind
the
of
stats and like I said, stats and titles go hand in hand. Of course, you build up stats to get to winning a title under your belt.
well, but see,
But don't one
if
is
the
not one
stats are
is not. Well, I'm saying one is not important without the other. It's like they're both as equally important. You
well,
know.
I mean, but see, the stats can be empty. Stats don't always tell the whole story. LeBron
I know they
James
don't.
put up 55 in Game 1 of the 2018 Finals, but it didn't end up in a win. You know? Yeah, I may have pulled that out of the air, but not everyone's going to remember that down the line. Down the line, they're just going to care that who won the damn thing. They don't give a shit that LeBron put up 55. Like
That's why
they
it's a
don't give a shit
team
that
effort.
LeBron put up a shit ton of great numbers in the finals if he lost it. You know what I mean? That's the point. Yes,
Well,
yes,
you're
he
never going
it's
to
come
win if one person is putting up all these big numbers.
yeah, but see,
I
and
mean,
that's
it's like I say, you've seen. Sorry, I mean, I'm just saying that you see those guys like Westbrook, LeBron, and whichever plays that always seem to be putting up the big numbers, and in the end, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying all the time, but most times they end up losing it because either one, they get greedy, they have no trust for their other teammates to do the job, and then they end up losing. It's like, but at the same time, like, look, it's a team sport. You all have to come together to win, and rely on one, or one is doing all the work and not everyone else. It's never going to work. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I understand that. It's like the whole thing with Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain put up amazing stats, but half of the time he didn't really win any championships. Bill Russell kept beating him because of the fact that and again, everyone's going to claim, oh, Bill Russell's overrated. Bill Russell was not a very good offensive player. And I guess to an extent it's true to an extent, but come on, man. Bill Russell was still a dominant player defensively. We cannot sit here and say he wasn't. And he was definitely the leader of that team. People looked up to Russell. Like,
yeah.
Just because
they even named the MVP. They even named the MVP trophy after him, right?
Yeah, they did. But see, what I'm saying is,
like,
just because you don't have to put up great offensive numbers just to be the better player, or to be like, because Wilt Chamberlain put up a shit ton of amazing stats. Like, he was a 50-point per game scorer one year. That's ridiculous. But he didn't.
He was one of the best Steelers of all time too.
Well, no. What I'm saying is,
I mean, sorry. I mean, Bill Russell. No, he said that Bill Russell was like, one
of the best
rings.
Yeah,
show for it, man. That's shows. And the best Steelers of all time. Come on.
Well, I mean, maybe not steals, because I don't think steals were that big of a stat. I know rebounds.
Regardless if they will. Well, regardless, I feel they should be counted. It's like, well, if you're going to count everything now, why not go back and count everything then? It's like, bro,
because sometimes they don't have all the stats.
I know, but they still helped him. Those steals helped him. Turnovers sometimes they make a big difference in who's going to win the game.
Okay, but it had nothing to do with steals, though. Like, Bill Russell was a decent defender, but it was mainly blocks and rebounds that were his bread and butter, not necessarily steals.
Oh, sorry. Oh, if it was blocks and rebounds, and that's what it was. But it should be counted. It's like, hey,
yeah,
defense. Like I said, defense wins chips. That should mean something.
Yeah, I mean, and it that's the thing. Like, once Wilt Chamberlain started passing the ball and trusting his teammates more, he actually had more success. And I know we're talking about LeBron and all that shit, and we're probably going to get a lot of bullshit from people saying, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about comparing Wilt Chamberlain to LeBron. It's not the same thing. Wilt Chamberlain had a lot more help than LeBron. And be that as it may, you guys like to say that the 60s aren't shit because they had less teams. So I don't know. Like, it's like the arguments get so stupid sometimes. And it's pretty much the same shit. Chamberlain kept taking it upon himself to be the scoring, like, take up all the load in scoring, but he wouldn't get his teammates involved. But when he actually finally did, he actually won a championship. So to sit here and say that, oh, he has to carry them, no, he doesn't. Yes, basketball is one of the very few sports where a superstar can actually dominate. I will admit that. Yes, it is a team sport, but it's very superstar driven. But at the same time, it is still a team sport in the end. And if LeBron had trusted his teammates more, if Wilt Chamberlain had trusted his teammates even more so, and if Westbrook had trusted his teammates, and you could say, oh, well, he did. Look it up. He averaged triple doubles. He made like a bunch of passes. Yeah, but I think a lot of those passes were still very forced because he also had a lot of turnovers too. If he was making smart passes, then I'd understand. But see, sometimes at certain moments, he'd make all these passes, but then near the end, he keep trying to take it upon himself to try and win the game instead of putting trust in his teammates to help him win it.
Well, you can't again, and right, and again, it goes back to what we said. It's a team sport. Keyword: team. If you don't learn to be a team or be a team player, you're never going to get where. That's why, yes, at times superstar players that have racked up great stats in a game. Yeah, sometimes they win, some barely. Most times they don't. That's why, like, you got to have that trust. So, like you said, if Will Chamberlain had more trust in his players and shared the ball and shown, hey, this guy has worked just as hard as I have to get where he is. Allow him to help you, assist you to, win.
Yeah, and as
It
a matter of
would,
fact,
it
Rusty
would, man.
Buckets.
It makes all the
Yeah,
difference, man. That's why, like it. If you wanted to, make, I mean, if you wanted to just if it was just a solo sport, well, then we would just be having one-on-one. No one to help you. It's like it's just but that's not the case. It's a 5-on-5 team sport. Trust your player. Trust your fellow teammates, man. At the same time, you're like the locker room should be like your a brotherhood of families. Like you don't have trust in that, then it's never going to work. That's why a lot of players move around sometimes because either the chemistry doesn't work or the chemistry is just not there, and you're just going to be like this constantly, and that you're never going to win doing that. So that's why players move around, and that's what I'm saying. It's a team sport. Learn to be teams. If you're going to be solo, then go to a solo sport. Don't choose this.
well, but see, but like I said, it's a more complicated than that because basketball, even though it is a team sport, is one of the very few sports that can be dominated by a solo individual player. It is possible. But what I'm saying is, overall, yeah, if they had trusted their teammates more, they probably would have been a little bit better. But let's not diminish what they've done as an individual player.
I'm not trying. No, I'm not trying to diminish there. It's just at the same time, you can't win the game yourself by yourself. It's just that'll lead to injury, to illness, and you're just going to wear yourself out before your career can even really take off. That's not how it works.
Yeah. But yeah, as a matter of fact, Rusty Buckets did a video on Wilt Chamberlain, and on the subject I just mentioned. So I'll be sure to put a link in the description on that one because it was a really good one. He had a lot of great points, and he also did it in a way to not disrespect any players from the 60s because a lot of players get disrespected from that time nowadays because again it's still the sport was still in a way still in its infancy. You can't blame them for shit that they can't control. They couldn't control the amount of teams playing in the league or how the playoffs were set up. That's the league deal. The players, all they could do is play who's in front of them. So it's like you can't and like they make it seem as if it's just white dudes and Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain. No. Elgin Baylor was there. A bunch of other black players were there during that time. Let's not freaking discredit them just because you personally haven't heard of them. And as a matter of fact, Rusty even mentioned Hall of Famers that were on that team with Wilt that could have potentially had won more championships if Wilt was just more of a team player. So again, there are plenty of players from back then that are Hall of Famers and are really good. We can't discredit them, but people nowadays think, oh, they wouldn't be shit nowadays. So what do you mean?
No.
Because and then there's another thing called, it's not like you, and see, this is what people don't understand. You can't just pluck a player from that time as they are and then put them here. That's not how that works because they would also have to evolve with the game. They would also have to evolve in how the game is played there.
Well, that's how you grow. That's how you improve. And, if people were dissing and disrespecting players of old from then, that's wrong, man. That's messed up. It's because if it wasn't for the 60s and 70s, all those players' blood, sweat, and tears and struggles, like you said, the NBA would have died back then. We wouldn't have an NBA. But it's because thanks to them, they kept the league, they kept the sport alive, and it is what it is today because of their sacrifices. So, I mean, but that's how the game. It's not like the game has stayed the way it is from the 60s. No, every decade it's evolved, it's improved, it's gotten better.
And there's more teams.
Health.
And it's like, okay, and they make it seem as if Bill Russell played only a set amount of teams, like 8 teams throughout his entire career. Bullshit. The league actually expanded near the end of his career to 14 teams. That's a little less than double, but still, that's more teams.
How many teams that they had in the 60s?
Like 8 to 14. Because again, it was like 8 for a little bit, and then it grew to 14.
And can you believe that since then, they're pretty much the league has doubled? That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
see, people like to make that argument, but then they'll give Jordan shit for, oh, he played in a watered down league, expansion league. Wait, so you're telling me more teams is worse than less teams? So then you can't talk shit on the fucking 60s anymore because having more
No,
teams is
dude.
somehow watered down and diluted? That see you it
Dude,
which
because
is
people,
it? Which is it? And that's the problem I have with a lot of
the
sports fans
people,
when they talk about that.
it's because people are gonna hate just to hate because they got nothing else to complain about, man. And it's stupid. It's like, why are we going to find something, the littlest, stupidest, irrelevant things to complain about? I guess it's because they got so much time on their hands, they don't know what to do. It's stupid. I don't like it. I mean, you're right. I agree with you. It's like, bro, you complain about this, you complain about that. Will you ever be satisfied? The game will, everything will always evolve, will always change. It has to, in order to grow for the better. And sports are no exception. So, I mean, like I said, I just feel people just complain just to complain because they don't have anything else better to do. I don't know. I don't know, but that's just what it
Well,
feels
it's
like.
because it creates discussion and it creates, it's because people think they know a little bit more. And to some extent, maybe it is true. I don't claim to know everything, but at the same time,
Oh yeah.
people have to be consistent with their arguments. They have to be. Otherwise, you're fucking just
But it's
saying shit to
yeah.
say shit. And that's why it's like you cannot
Right, but I mean,
disrespect the old time players for something that they could not control. Because what if the league expands again? Are we going to use that argument against LeBron and other players of this era like Curry and Kawhi? Are we going to give them shit for playing less teams like Russell did or like Magic and Bird did? We don't. But see, what's funny is they don't say that for Magic and Bird, but they say that for Russell. Like, what
yeah.
is it?
No, I guess some that do this have their favorites and they don't want anyone to shit on their favorites. It's
Exactly.
like, no, that's
Look,
not
I
how it
have my
works. That's not
favorites.
how it works.
Like I like Dirk, but he's had far from a perfect career. Like he could have won
He
more
has, man.
championships, but like he could have won more championships, but he didn't do well in '06. He failed in '07. Like he was an MVP and he still like he didn't even get out of the first round. That's not a good look. I mean, I would love Dirk to the end of time, but come on. Like, let's not pretend he's God. There's a lot of Mavs fans nowadays that put him on such a high pedestal that they're getting very delusional about his career. It's like,
No
no.
one, I mean, no player is perfect, man. Who has truly, even the most successful players of all time, who has truly had a perfect season? Nobody. Everyone's had their fair share of stumbles, to get to
Well,
where
even
they are.
even like Jordan. Jordan had his issues in his first few years in the league, getting out of the first round of the playoffs because of the Celtics and then the bad boy
Mhm.
Pistons. He's had his struggles. But at the same time, I hate when LeBron fans use that as a reason to shit on Jordan when LeBron didn't even get into the playoffs in his first 2 seasons of him playing. So you cannot do that. You cannot shit on Jordan for not getting out of the first round, but then LeBron didn't even make the playoffs in his first 2 seasons. That's stupid.
Yeah, like I said, man, to really have civil discord, healthy civil discord, you got to talk about the things that matter, things that are relevant and that affect, what goes on around you.
But see,
And
that's very it's
yeah,
subjective.
it's like, right. No, that's why you got to be objective about it. And a lot of people, they make it subjective by putting their bias and their favorites. And that's why it's like, look, man, every player, doesn't matter who you are, is fair game. You got to critique them fairly objectively across the board. And the same goes with eras and the way the league is from then and now. It's like, yeah, okay. But that's how, the league started when? In the 40s? And we're
Yeah.
here in the 21st century, in the 2020. You'd think it's not like it's stayed. It's not like it's how to say. It's not like it's the league has stood suspended in time in
Yeah,
since then. It's supposed to be about growth. It's supposed to be about improvement.
it's an evolution.
And
Yeah.
exactly, an evolution. And like I said, people just want to hate or bitch about things from then. It's like, bro, but okay, that was then. You look at the times, how they were, and compare them to now. You can't really compare them to now. It was a different time. Every decade, it was a different time, different way of doing things. Like this past decade, or in 2020, or decade, we're going to be looking at, once we get to the next decade, like that was a different time. That's how we did things. Every decade, I view as every decade like its own time capsule. It really is. And how what people did, how they did them, what was popular, what wasn't, what was in fashion, all that kind of stuff. And it's no different in sports. So like I said, surely have healthy civil discord. You got to talk about things objectively in order to have
But see,
healthy conversations and
people
debates.
don't because, and look, you have to have a healthy mixture of statistics and the eye test. And a lot of people don't. They either rely too much on the statistics, but they don't tell the whole story of what actually happened in context in the game, because those are just numbers. Numbers are not 100% the be all end all, because you also have to see the eye test. Why was he shooting inefficiently? Oh, because he was fucking triple teamed throughout most of the game. Obviously, he's not going to have a high efficiency.
Yeah,
But the fact that he managed to put up
you
29
got to put
points despite
that's
that,
why. Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's the thing. You have to have a healthy mixture of what
Well, yeah, that's
is
why.
happening in the moment plus the statistics.
Well, yeah, That's why we have to learn from history. Look up old footage, look up the stat sheet, and watch the footage and compare. It's like, okay, why does the stat sheet say this? And you look at the footage, and it tells you a lot. That's why you have to learn from history. Those that don't learn from history are foolish, and they just no, man. You got to look at. That's why when it comes to sports, look up the stat sheets and then pull up the video to see why the game played out that there, why players played the way they did based off of the stat sheets and the videos. You got to have those hand in hand. you know.
Yeah. But anyway, we kind of really went off topic because we were still trying to read more of the favorite moments from different people, like favorite sports moments. So we'll try to finish that up and then we'll talk about another subject. So my buddy Oscar Hoji Sensei, he actually posted a favorite moment of his. And his moment was when the Seahawks came back against the Packers in 2015 in the NFC Championship. Like I remember,
Oh yeah.
yeah, because the Seahawks, I think they had it was an onside kick, and they recovered it, and then they won the game. They came,
They won the title that year, right?
yeah. No. In 2015, no,
Yeah.
they went to the Super Bowl, but that was against the Patriots, and they lost that year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because I remember that
Trying to
very
remember.
well. I was in Canyon with my fraternity brother Brian Rose. I don't know if you met him, but he's also from El Paso, by the way. That's how
Oh really?
he was my big brother. That's how I got into the fraternity like with him, because he was the El Paso connection on that one. But yeah,
Oh,
he
nice to
he
meet him. I would hope to meet him soon.
yeah, he's pretty cool. He graduated from Andrus.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, I was sitting there with him. We were having like some IPAs that he made. We're just chilling, watching the game.
Shit, you made IPAs?
Yeah, he makes IPAs.
Dang.
But yeah, we
I
were
have to
sitting
try
there
some
watching the
now.
games, and like he's a huge Packers fan.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, Brian, but yeah, man, I was kind of pulling for the Seahawks at that point. But yeah, it was crazy. Like at first, I was like, man, looks like Aaron Rodgers is about to go to the Super Bowl again. And next thing you know, freaking the Seahawks just kept coming back, and then that onside kick was just ridiculous. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, they just totally stole that game completely from the Packers. It was a really good game. It was hard fought. It's that is a really good moment. So, thank you, Oscar, for that one. Like, definitely look at the highlights from that game. It's such a good game. And then another person that replied to the comment sections for their favorite sports moment. My darling wife, she sometimes looks at the stuff I do. Um, she has a couple,
That's good.
but one is when MJ saved the Looney Tunes from an alien race. Hashtag Go Bulls. Yeah, yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah,
That's
like
a great moment in sports for sure.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And of course, of course, a lot of the younger generation is not gonna. What the fuck are they talking about? You know, as
And well, but see, now you have again, because I told you in a couple of episodes ago that people are really starting to hate on Space Jam now.
why?
Well, it's because
Why are they
okay,
hating on Space
because
Jam? That's a
again, it's
classic,
like,
man.
well, it is a classic, and it is we like it, but see, it's like you could say that about a lot of other movies from back then. It's like, oh, well, it didn't have good effects, or the story plots, or this, that, and the other. It's like you
Yeah,
make
well, I
it seem
mean,
as
at
if
the time they were great.
every movie is gonna have a great story plot or no holes or great editing or whatever the
No,
fuck, dude. Not every
yeah,
movie is
no
gonna be
movie,
like that. Like, and that's
no
why, like,
movie's perfect.
and I think the Amazing Atheist did a video on Space Jam and how it's shit and all that. But see, the thing about the Amazing Atheist,
Ah,
it's just
fuck off with that.
he's one of those guys that is such an edgelord that he will talk shit on almost anything. Like, it's like, dude, I get it. You have your preferences and shit, but everyone else has their preferences. What makes your preferences better than the rest?
Well, man,
And it's like, dude, it doesn't
well,
matter.
nobody's, man. We are
It's a
perfect.
children's movie. It's a children's. What the fuck do you expect from a children's movie? Like, it got people involved in the sport.
It's the Looney Tunes, man.
Yeah,
Looney Tunes are fucking
you
classic.
took a classic cartoon like Conclave or Cavalcade, however you say that shit, of the Looney Tunes and mixed it with sports with Michael Jordan. Yes, I get it. Michael Jordan wasn't the greatest actor, but who is? Like, you expect a fucking sports
Dude,
player to be that
of
great of an actor? I mean, granted, Ray Allen did a good job in He Got Game. He did a good job, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I watched that. That was good.
Most players are
That
going to
was a good
be
movie.
themselves. Like, even in the if you look at old footage from NBA 2K games, like other NBA 2K games, they actually tried to get players to like voice themselves in the games. Some of it is the most cringiest shit I have ever seen. Like, Deion Waiters was horrible. I think it was either 2K13 or one of those other 2Ks, and he was just so like robotic. It's like he was trying to read it the best he could on the page, and it was so unnatural.
Some
Like,
people do. Some players don't know how to talk, or either their vocabulary is not big, or sometimes schooling it can hinder them. But and even some people, they don't like talking in front of people. It scares them. So those are factors, man. But I didn't know that 2K actually tried to get actual players to voice themselves in the game,
and some
to
did
make it
okay, but
more,
some
to make it
didn't.
more authentic.
Yeah, to try and make a more authentic experience. But see,
That's
again,
cool.
it's
I
like
didn't know
the
that.
whole thing with TJ. That's his name is TJ Kirk, the Amazing Atheist. I mean, there's a lot of things I agree with as far as his political views, but there's a lot of things I don't. And again, I just think he's very angsty naturally. He just wants to lash at the world, and that's fine. Like, you do you, man. But I don't know, like, Space Jam is what it is. It is a classic, and it is a kids movie. What are you expecting from a kids movie?
Dude, there's just, like I told you, there's a lot of people that just like to shit on things for just because. And I mean, I don't know why, but it's like, bro, to me, since you and I grew up in the 90s, we're 90s kids, that was a very iconic movie because we grew up watching Jordan. And hell yeah, we thought that was one of the greatest movies of that decade to come out for us since we were like, what, 5, 6 years old. That was
Yeah.
like, dude, that was a shit. So a lot of guys, now we're
Almost in our 30s, but
we're
it's
almost in our
like,
30s, but even then, it's like, dude, that was part of our childhood that we will always remember. And it's the same way with every generation. There's always something, movie, a TV show, or whatever, that everyone's going to remember from the show. I was like, man, that was the shit. And we look back at that, and we're looking at it through our eyes, as in like current times, as in the current era. We're looking at it through our eyes, and because we can't look at it through their eyes back then, because that's not what we grew up with. So of course we're going to have our own bias and look at it as like, that was, what are you talking about? That was not funny, or that wasn't cool. But like I said, we're looking at it through our eyes instead of trying to be objective and look at it through their eyes from then. So of course, younger generation are going to look at it through their eyes and see like, oh man, that wasn't okay. And we were like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That was awesome. And of course, there's always going to be something that comes out for them. They're always going to, like, when whatever movie or whatever event comes out and they're like, oh man, that was awesome. They're going to look back, it's just the same thing every generation, dude. That's why it's like, okay, so you're okay, you don't like it, big deal.
It's not your cup of tea. Yeah, exactly. It's not your preference. You didn't like it. That's fine, but you don't have to be so utterly angry about it. It's like, it's a movie. It's like, okay, TJ likes Marilyn Manson. Like, TJ likes Marilyn Manson, right?
Okay.
I'm not the hugest Marilyn Manson fan. I really don't see the appeal, but you know what? Just because I say that does not mean I can take away any accomplishment or anything that Marilyn Manson has done. Because Marilyn Manson is obviously probably one of the greater performers of our time. And it doesn't matter if I don't like his music or not. He's still going to be Marilyn Manson, and people are still going to like his music. Same with Space Jam. Just because you don't personally like it doesn't mean it still isn't a classic. And yeah, you could give rough reasons why, it's like really corny, cheesy, acting's bad, animation's not entirely. You can nitpick at anything you want, but it is what it is.
Man.
It's a classic to a lot of people of that era because it was fun. It was a children's movie. We grew up with it. But I don't know. And like you said, people just find. Yeah, some people like to grab at something to attack. Like, because they have nothing better to talk about. And again, and this is no disrespect to the amazing atheist. He's obviously a bigger YouTuber than I will ever be at this point. But
don't say that, man. Everyone grows up.
No, but lighten up, man. Like, if you don't like Space Jam, that's all well and good. But you don't have to shit on it. Okay? There are people that liked it. I don't know. Let's move on from that, because it's just it just seems a little ridiculous that people dislike that movie so much.
Hey man, look, dude. Not everyone's gonna like everything. That's not the point, dude.
I know. I just think it's a little ridiculous that people feel the need to like viciously attack it, though. But yeah,
hey, dude, that means that's their they got something wrong with them. That's their problem, dude. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so then. My wife also had another sports moment. It was the moment that she went with us to the Mavs game before the lockdown. It was when Boban scored his season high. I think he might have also been his career high even for a game. Like, she really enjoyed that time.
Wasn't it 30 points? He scored 30 points.
31.
He's 30 points, right?
31.
Dude, yeah, that was great, man.
Yeah, Boban
and
really
just acquired him too.
Well, no. They acquired him from free agency in the offseason.
Oh, okay.
So they just hardly played
playing time, right?
Yeah, they hardly played him, and that would piss me off because it's just like, he's so fucking huge. Play him. But of course, the reason was because he's so big and he doesn't move as fast, and he could get tired more easily. So you got to give him at least some sparingly some minutes. But I'm just like, okay, but in situations like Denver, where you have Nikola Jokic, who's a fucking big-ass motherfucker, why the hell do you not play Boban? Like, the last time, they didn't play him. And I was like, this could have been a perfect time to use Boban in the final seconds of the game instead of having Dwight Powell on Nikola Jokic. You have Boban, who could have easily bodied his ass. And as we saw in that game that we went to, Boban was doing a good job slowing down Jokic, as well as other players, dude. Like, come on. Give the guy some more minutes. It doesn't have to be 25 minutes a game, but at least 17 to 20 minutes. Something substantial. like to where he can actually be of assistance, especially against bigger players like Anthony Davis or Nikola Jokic or Vucevic sometimes. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of players that you could use him against to kind of help you defensively. Granted, he's not going to be the be-all, end-all. I get that. But come on. Like, in games where they could have seriously needed his size, they didn't use him. So that's just all I wanted, to use him in moments of that nature. And I felt so good that he got his shine. He got his chance. And he didn't, he didn't squander it. He kicked ass.
No, he delivered. And I mean, yeah, you give someone a chance, they'll surprise you. And yeah, he surprised me. And I mean, I think, not a lot of big guys, not a lot of centers put up a lot of points, but hey, it's like, hell yeah, man. This guy, he really surprised me, man.
Yeah, I mean, and it was definitely a great moment. Like it's another one of my favorite moments too, because I got to share it with her, and we all went, so we all got to share it together. So that is a good moment for all of us, really.
Yeah, yeah, it was a moment in history that we got to witness.
Yeah, I mean, also when we got to see the Mavs in 06, the second game, that was fun. Like getting to see Dirk against Shaq and Wade and all them. That was pretty good. That was really fun.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, that was something I could only dream of.
Like, we saw freaking Hall of Famers, man. We saw Shaq, Wade, Gary Payton, Alonzo Mourning. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, we did, man. And, at least we got to see Dirk a few more times as well. And I know we weren't able to go to the 2011 finals because those tickets were ridiculous. But at least we still got to witness history and see it happen. So, of course, it's always better in person. But even then, it's like, hey, we're still part of history. History's always being written every day. So it's great to see that.
Exactly. But yeah, those are the favorite sports moments by the fans. The fans and more will come in the future. Hopefully, we're starting out. We're growing. But yeah, guys, in the future, just please be sure to like comment in the video, just so we can make sure to read those. But yeah, so that's that portion of our video. We're gonna talk next about LeBron James, if he was like on the Dallas Cowboys, because recently there's been a lot of stuff about LeBron during the lockout season in 2011 had a chance of possibly joining the Cowboys. He trained with some NFL trainers, and he even was given a contract by Jerry Jones. Obviously, it didn't happen, but LeBron still has the contract on him, which is kind of cool. But it's just like one of those things that you wonder. Like there's been a lot of like two-sport players like Bo Jackson and oh my gosh, Deion Sanders. You have a lot of those kind of players, but I don't see how it would have worked if he played basketball and football. Yeah, he did it in high school, and he was amazing at both, apparently. Like, he was a really good football player in high school as well. But overall, like, I just don't see how that would translate to being in the NBA and NFL. I just think those sports are too taxing on one's body to do both. I mean, and I think it's obvious that basketball is more of his thing. Like, we can't sit here and make it seem as if he would have dominated in football. We won't know that, but even then, I can only say this because he definitely – I mean, he's physical, but I don't think his type of physicality would translate to the NFL because he would have to take a lot of punishment in the NFL.
No, his body is not made for that. He's spent his entire career in basketball, making a living and making a profession out of it. His body was tailor-made or built for that sport, not football.
Well, and this is not to say that LeBron isn't a strong individual in his own right, or that he's not athletic.
I'm not saying that.
He's an amazing specimen of a human being, but I just don't see him being a football player. I really don't.
No, it'd just be too taxing on him. I think it's a little more physical than basketball. I just feel doing both. I feel that it would beat his body up to the point where I feel like he would have to cut his career shorter than usual. So I just don't see it happening. And then also, to sign him, like this was recent that he wanted to come on in.
Well, it's because remember this was during the lockout season in 2011, like after the
Oh, in
Mavs won the championship.
2011. Oh, I thought you. I
No,
thought
no.
this was recent. I was like,
Well,
what?
no. They've
No.
been recently talking about it.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the first I've ever heard of him being offered a contract back in 2011. I'm like, what? I
Yeah,
thought,
apparently. Well, yeah, because he wasn't certain if they were gonna, like, how long the lockout was gonna take. But yeah, be that as it may, yeah,
I mean, well, back then to ponder the thought, it could have happened. But you look at him now. I mean, well, of course, then he was younger. He's not as beat up from the past few finals. But I just don't. It could have, but don't see it. I feel it would have been too much for him to deal with. It's just been too taxing on. Excuse me, too taxing on his body. So
yeah, it definitely would have. I mean, it's just, and again, this is no disrespect to LeBron. It's just also, and again, we also have to remember he did like he got a cramp in, I think it was the 2013 no, it was 2014 finals. Yeah, he got a cramp in that finals, and he really wasn't like manning up then. And you can't do that in football. You have to be a little bit more stronger than that in football. But these fuckers play with broken hands and goddamn messed up shoulders and backs and shit. So I just don't see. And again, this is not saying LeBron is like, he's weak or anything. I mean, but it's just, again, it's a different sport. You cannot say that his game in the NBA would have translated to the NFL. It wouldn't have.
yeah, no,
Maybe
it's
if he
also that.
pursued like if he pursued football as his career, maybe we would be saying something different. But I don't know. It's just the way I mean, there's a reason he chose basketball. Let's just say that. There's a reason he chose basketball.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he trained his body for that particular sport, and he would have to retrain his body for something different, which can be tough because he's a tall, thin and lean guy. He would probably have to put on some bulk, for the NFL, depending on what position he would have played at. I mean, he needs to be that lean, thin guy because he needs to be fast. It's in order to spread the court back and forth. I just don't know. I just don't see it. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it wouldn't be ideal or smart in his case if he had gone through with it then. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, especially at that time, like he was still trying to like cement his place in the NBA, and like he already had like 2 championships by then, but it's like he was more focused on getting another one after that. So I don't see why he would have taken that chance. But it's interesting. It's interesting to think about that he probably could have been another 2-sport player and played for the Cowboys. I mean, don't get me wrong. If he ended up in the NFL, like to start his career and was a Cowboy, you bet your ass I'd be a fan of it.
Yeah. No, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, it's like, again, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I wouldn't have been a fan of him playing the game if he ended up just saying fuck basketball, I'm playing football. I'd be a little worried for him, but I wouldn't mind. That's cool.
Well, it's like
he likes the Cowboys, so fuck yeah.
Well, it's kind of it's not that far off from what Jordan did when he retired the first time.
Well, but that's different. It is different, dude, though, because it's baseball. Baseball and football are completely different. Baseball is not even remotely as.
Same for Bo Jack.
But see, Bo Jackson, Bo Jackson was a better baseball player, definitely, than Jordan. Like that's not even comparable. Bo Jackson was fucking top notch when it came to football, and he was a decent player in baseball. Whereas Jordan, he wasn't really anything in baseball. He was in the fucking B League for the White Sox. So,
well,
Not
I'm
even.
guessing it's because well, yeah, Bo Jackson put the time and effort into both, and he became really good at both. I think since he retired from basketball the first time, I think he just wanted something to stay busy. So probably that's why.
Maybe, but I mean, because that was another passion of his dad's, from what I remember, that his dad actually wanted him to play baseball, but
Yeah.
he ended up sticking with basketball. But see, that's the thing. I just think LeBron would probably have a better chance playing football than Jordan had a better chance playing baseball. That's my only thing. Like Jordan just did not have the style to play, like the type of training to be a baseball player. Like
Right.
and LeBron doesn't have the training to be a football player. But again, I just don't think it's comparable because football is a harder sport overall.
oh
And,
yeah.
but yeah, anyway, that's just our thoughts on it. LeBron, it would have been interesting to see if he had done it. Would I have been a fan? Yeah, I'd be a fan of LeBron playing for the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys. But yeah, I just don't think it would have been good for his body. I think he would have gotten injured, and I
Man.
would hate for that to happen to LeBron. That would be horrible. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. You all can
Oh,
disagree if you want. You can think he's even better than I'm making him out to be. Maybe I'm stupid, but that's just how I see it. Um, but yeah, that's what I have for that. And then let's see. What else were we going to talk about today? Because I know we discussed all that. Oh yeah, like I said in the last episode, we're gonna really kind of tone it down a bit because yeah, we like talking about sports, and that's the whole point about this channel. But we also, because from what I've seen from other podcasts and sportscasts from other YouTubers and just in general, they talk about other things besides sports. So we kind of want to just tone it down and talk about stuff like cartoons, anime, because that's especially Mario. He's a little bit more invested in anime than I have been recently. And recently, I watched and see. I'm gonna have probably if I have some anime nerds watching this, they're probably gonna give me shit saying that Avatar: The Last Airbender is not an anime. It's like, I'm sorry, but last I checked, the fucking art style is very consistent with most anime. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know. I binged watched Avatar: The Last Airbender recently, and it was fucking badass. Like, when I first watched it, it was pretty damn good. So now, it's still a good show. I just think, like, people need to
yeah.
understand, like, anime is just animation. That's just really what that term means. It's just because it's not Japanese or it's not the exact same thing as, like, anything from the creators of, like, Yu Yu Hakusho or Dragon Ball Z or any of those other ones. It's still
Right.
an anime.
Right. Well, I think it's because anime, the word anime was coined to refer specifically to Japanese animation and cartoons. But I mean, I kind of agree with you on that. I mean, I don't give a damn who made it. As long as it's good, I'll watch it, and has some substance. Good storyline, plot, whatever. All those factors, I'm down. So I mean, yeah, but Avatar: The Last Airbender was a great. I mean, can you believe that show's already 15 years old?
Yeah, it's pretty
Dude,
ridiculous.
that came out when we were in middle school. I mean, damn, that's crazy
Yep, time
how time
flies.
flies. But and I mean, it's all about personal taste. The characters, the plot, the storyline, all of that.
And it was, in my opinion, I think it was a really well done storyline. But of course, like everything we've talked about on here, someone's gonna find something negative to talk about a show. Like, I don't know. I just think a lot of animes nowadays follow the same tropes where it's like, oh, the nerdy guy who is not usually accepted by his peers, who somehow gets amazing powers out of nowhere and becomes cool. The girl interest that likes him, but she won't fucking show her feelings because she's dumb and he's dumb. And then you have the guy who's not really a bad guy, but he's just your polar opposite and he wants to fight with you all the fucking time. But then comes to an understanding that you're in it for good intentions and not in it just to beat him. It has nothing to do with him, but for some reason he still wants to make it about him. And like I don't
Yeah,
get
I
those
can
fucking
already
tropes.
think of several animes you
Yeah,
mentioned.
I mean, some
I don't know. I
to a
don't know,
lesser
man.
extent, Naruto. There's some tropes that are like that in Naruto. Um, it's definitely
Yeah,
like that a lot in Black Clover, in freaking
that's
My Hero
a good one.
Academia, in Fairy Tale. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
another fucking trope.
yeah.
The power of friendship. The power of friendship will save us all. You know, some bullshit like that. You know,
Well,
like
that's
what?
not bullshit. I mean, it is
I mean,
true.
friendship is
But I mean,
good,
but
but
they.
like,
What are
come
you saying? It's
on.
overused? Is that what you're
It's
saying?
yes, it's an overused trope. Come up with a different reason, like a different thing that helps bring people together. Like shit, like friendship is cool and all, but come on, man.
Well,
If
I
it
mean,
wasn't for y'all
friendship and
superpowers, do you think you would
friendship and
stop
love,
these
man.
fucks? Like, no, but what I'm saying, if you fuckers didn't have superpowers, do you think you'd be able to stop them? Come on, like let's be real here. Your superpowers are the only thing that's keeping the world from dying. Okay,
But it's love, friendship, and will too.
I mean, yes, like you have to have a sense of hope and positivity, but at the same time, it's just like it goes to extents that I'm like, how the
Well, that's
fuck?
the that's the whole point, dude. It's not supposed to reflect. It's not supposed to reflect reality.
I know,
That
but
and
like
then
sometimes
it's
it
the
gets a little bit too ridiculous, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm
yes.
not saying it
I
has to reflect
okay.
reality, but I'm saying
I'm
it's too ridiculous.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. There's some animes that get they take it to a ridiculous level, but the whole point of anime is like it's supposed to. They take there's some things that take reality and they they spice it up, but the whole point it's that's what anime is. It's fantasy. It's
Yeah, it's
supposed to
fantasy.
take it's fantasy. So that's why these animators, these manga writers, they go to that extreme because hey, it's fantasy. It's supposed to make some of it's not supposed to make any sense. It's supposed to make people laugh or have and enjoy
Emote,
it.
yeah, I know. But it's
Yeah.
just yeah, but I'm just saying it kind of goes to ridiculous lengths. Like my one of my
You
favorite
can't help but
animes.
laugh at it though, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can laugh at it and I still enjoy it, but yeah, sometimes it gets a bit much. But one of my favorites is Death Note. And a lot of people say, Death Note's overrated. But no, I disagree. I totally disagree for the reason that it's not like most tropes in anime nowadays, or even back then. Because of the fact that it's like Moriarty versus Sherlock Holmes, except Moriarty's the what is it, the protagonist here. I mean, he's both the protagonist and the antagonist within this. But that's just my deal. I like something different than the usual. I don't like looking at the same
Right.
recycled
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, granted, I still like My Hero Academia. I still like Fairy Tale. I still like Black Clover. But it's just there's some things that I'm just like this is
It's
redundant.
overused. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of those same kind of tropes, like you said. Yes, they are overused. I've just been browsing many different shows just to say, let's see how good this is, or this is good, or that. And yes, more times than not, they are overused. So I can understand why someone like yourself could get bored or just like, I'm over this. This is just overdone. I get that. But even then, it's just sometimes I look at it. Yes, it's overdone, but I just look at the different characters and how the character development is depending on whatever the background or story is, and I still enjoy it. So I mean, I can understand. I don't let that get to me because I'm all about seeing how the characters develop because that's how life should be about. We're looking about progress, development, and how we go over and how we develop against certain trials and adversity. So that's how I look at it. But yeah, I understand what you mean. But even then, I try to I enjoy. I don't let that stuff bother me.
And it's like I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my favorites,
Oh
like of all
yeah,
time.
dude. Talk
But I
about
don't know. It's just there's
OG.
always some debates on the characters in general, like Goku not being a good dad. You know the arguments we get into with like between you, me, and
Yeah,
our buddy Chancho. Shout
yeah,
out to
yeah.
Chancho. But it's like Goku can never catch a break with some people for some reason now. It's like, dude, he was the fucking protagonist in Dragon Ball, and he was a heck of a guy. Like he was, he had development of his own, But people make
But
it seem as
he's
if he's never developed after that. Like he's stagnant. It's like you don't
well.
think his training, his ability to become stronger throughout time is not development. Yes, I
It
understand
is development.
he's very aloof, but he
Sometimes too much.
yeah, but
He
see
can.
he also is a very good character in general because of the fact that he's very strong-willed, he never gives up, and people can say what the fuck they want about him being a horrible dad. Oh yeah, it's kind of hard to be a dad when you're fucking trying to save the world all the time. I mean, shit, cut the guy a break. You know what I
Well,
mean? It's like the guys, and they make it seem as if he's never there for Gohan. Dude, he would go and train with Gohan and play with him. It makes it seem as if he's never spent time with the kid. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, the times where the times where he would die. Yeah, I felt more times than not he left Gohan alone, and having Piccolo and several other people to train him and teach him
and pick up the
when he
slack.
was up in heaven
Yes.
trying to get back to Earth, and so yeah, I can see that, but I mean, even then, Gohan, I'm sure had an understanding.
And he
If
did.
you know the
Gohan did.
argument that some people, yeah, he did, and that did not affect, yeah, he did not let him affect his relationship with his dad, and that is admirable because a lot of kids wouldn't be so understanding, and I can respect it. It's like, but sometimes, but hopefully they would learn to understand why. But so I can understand why people would make that argument. But I mean, yes, you're right. He can be very aloof, sometimes too aloof, and an airhead when it comes to certain things. Like, bro, how many times have we been through this, and yet you still don't remember
Yeah.
or forget? He tends to forget a lot of things because, in a way, he does have a one track mind, and to where all he focuses on training to become stronger and protecting people. It's like, bro, you got to take some time to really pay attention to the ones that are around you, or the ones that care about you or you've grown relationships with. So that's one thing I'll criticize him on, but that doesn't make him a horrible
And
person.
again, it's like people make it seem as if I dislike Vegeta. I like Vegeta.
Oh
He
no,
does have a
I
very
don't.
good story arc throughout the series, and he does have
Yeah,
a great
I don't
deal
like
of
Vegeta.
improvement and character development. But at the same time, I just feel like people overpraise this character, even though many times he is proven to not really be that much stronger than Goku. Goku is definitely still stronger than Vegeta, no matter how people try to slice it.
Right, but they're not. He's not that far off what
Yeah, and I'm
Goku
not saying
is.
that. Like Vegeta is definitely one of the strongest characters in the Dragon Ball like lore.
But he did get a
But
lot of shit, though. You can't lie about. You can't argue that he did receive a lot of shit.
well, for obvious reasons, the guy just was a bad guy at first. I mean, shit.
He was a
What?
dick. Yes,
And
yes,
he
but I
is a
mean,
dick too.
I don't know why. Well, I don't know why he had a vendetta against Goku. Always trying to one up him, always butting heads. I mean, at least later in Dragon Ball Z and into Dragon Ball Super. Forgive me, I haven't watched Dragon Ball Super yet
Some people
because
have a
I
lot of
want to.
mixed. They have a lot of mixed feelings on
Excuse me.
Super. I haven't watched it
Right.
either, but I kind of should just to to kind of see it.
Well, I went back was a few years ago and I watched all of Dragon Ball just to see where the whole story began, and it was great. It was like, oh, okay, because I never got to see Dragon Ball in its entirety when we would always watch it on TV. Like, especially when we didn't have cable, those times we watch it on Teleportura or Telemundo and in
Yeah, a nuestra
Spanish,
abuelas.
and we'd always see bits and pieces. Same thing with Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, we never saw everything in its entirety. So I went back and it's like, okay, I watched it all. Now that we had the means to watch all the anime we could ever watch on several websites and watch everything. So I went and watched all of Dragon Ball. Great. I was like, okay, so that's how Goku started, and that's how everything fell into place. Now I want to go back and watch Dragon Ball Z all over again in order to see how it all developed in its entirety. But I'm not going to go back and watch the original because that would take too long. 200 was it 240 episodes?
Yeah, and half of
That's
that
how
shit
long
is
Dragon Ball
filler. That's
Z
why
is.
Dragon Ball Z Kai is better
Yeah.
if you're trying to like
And a
get
lot of the
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I was saying. You know, a lot of it's filler, and a lot of the dubbing wasn't all that great. A lot of the visuals were not great for the time. So what I learned is Kai is nothing but a improved version of Dragon Ball Z, but without the fillers, better dubbing, and better and cleaned visuals. So I'm gonna probably just go back and watch all of Kai and that way I can say, okay, what is the important part without having to watch the filler.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so and then after that, I'll get into Super. But I mean, going back to Vegeta, it's like yes, he was a dick. He was a bit of an asshole, but I mean, he did learn and he did grow to become a better person, especially when he started a family with Bulma and became a father. So it's like, okay, he's not that bad of a guy after all. He just had a lot of issues in the beginning, but he worked them out.
but see, and this is another thing though. Like it is good character development, but didn't they do pretty much the same thing with Piccolo? Piccolo pretty much was in a sense
Yeah,
the same thing. Piccolo was like grew to redeem himself because
yeah,
he was also Goku's enemy, and he became a
yeah.
better
Well, but
person.
thanks to his dad. He fought his dad, defeated his dad, and of course he implemented that seed when Piccolo grew up. So
Yeah,
that was, yeah. But he did the same thing. But
but
still, I would want that with every person
yeah,
that you
but
come
see, what I'm
across.
saying is people like to shit on Goku as a character that doesn't develop, but you know what? He develops characters because of how he is. He is the one that creates development in other characters. Everything revolves
Yeah,
and goes through him. That's why I like Goku, because he changes people. It's not just the fact that, oh, he's just this aloof guy who's 100% all fighting and kind of a dummy. He has a lot of good characteristics too, because his virtues guide him and change people. And
yeah.
that's why he's such a good character. At least for me. I know I'm gonna have a lot of more arguments with my buddy Chancho, our buddy Chancho, but come on. Yeah, I just think people need to understand Goku's not as
We should bring him on.
static of a character as they claim. Yeah, that
Right,
would be
right.
kind of cool.
We should
We
we should we should do another podcast and bring him on and whoever else just to talk about anime just for the hell of it. Maybe I'll when I get my gaming channel started up, maybe I'll do a set of podcasts doing this kind of stuff too, and
yeah.
just bringing in people to just have conversations like this. This is fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, is wouldn't you want someone like that in your life that, yes, he may come off as awkward, may not seem much, but he changes you for the better. But
Yeah.
some actions insignificant, some big. I mean, that's what we need more in this world is people like that. It's like, yeah, uh, to change your lives for the better, to see things from another perspective. And that's why I look at a lot of animes, that do that. It's like, yeah, that's what should be. That's I
Someone
feel,
who
even
brings
though
out
they're,
the best in people. In
yes,
essence.
yes, and
That's
we
why I
need that
like him.
because
Yeah.
we need that in this world more than ever. If you see how the way the world is right now, that's why I feel animes are so great. People connect with them because, like, yeah, this is what the world should be like. This is the people we need. And there's always that meme that went around on the internet, if you remember, like how it's amazing how we learned so much from characters that never existed, like truly existed in real life.
Well,
And
yeah,
that
because
says a lot.
well, I mean, from the beginning of time, when people would tell stories, those stories were to teach a moral to children to be better people
Yeah,
in general. That's
and to
really
give them
what it
hope.
amounts to. It's the
Yeah,
same thing that's being perpetuated to try, at least hopefully, to change people for
yeah.
the better. But that doesn't always happen. So
Right, but that's why hopefully it would inspire people like, hey, we can, if even though this is fantasy, if it can be done there, I'm sure it can be done in the real life. So
yeah,
that's
there's some
why,
things that I would hope that people can learn.
even then, sometimes some characters from different animes, their awkwardness and quirkiness gives them their character. It makes them. That's what makes them you. That's what makes them them, and that's why it's like cool. That's why some of us can relate to them because we're all weird in a way. Everyone's weird in a way. I mean, what's weird to you may not be weird to this guy. It's like within, like you said, even that is subjective.
Hmm.
It's all about perspective. My perspective is subjective in a way where I only see it through my eyes, and same thing with yours.
Yeah, and also, I don't know, like most animes in general, I do like. I'm starting to get into One Piece.
Oh
One
yeah,
Piece is very interesting. Uh,
yes, it is.
and see that's another one that doesn't follow the exact same trope. I mean, there's sometimes it kind of does, but for the most part, it's actually quite different. So I mean, I'm kind of
I
excited to
think that's
continue watching
yeah,
that one
yeah.
if I get back to it. And also another one I've been watching a lot with Ashley lately is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That one,
I don't know about that
that
one,
one is
man.
just
That one looks
ridiculous.
so weird.
No, it's good though, but it is very fucking ridiculous. Like it, but it's so funny. It's so fun to watch for some reason.
It's just the automation, dude. It just looks so too serious and it's just off-putting to
Yeah,
me. I'm just like,
it definitely is weird when they do those fucking weird like serious faces that.
nah.
But what's funny is a lot of other animes have incorporated that to their deal. Like remember in Fairy Tale, the
Well, yeah,
scientist
just to
chick,
it's just,
they
yeah,
always
yeah.
pay
I remember
homage
that. It's
to.
just it's the
Yeah, they
well,
always pay homage.
yeah, it's to create comic relief and just to throw like, oh, that was unexpected. A lot of animes do that. They
Is that a
even a
JoJo
lot of
reference?
animes, yeah, even a lot of other animes do references to other animes just for the hell of it. Of course, they changed the name because of copyright and royalty stuff. It's just to create some funny things about it. That's why when you get those slice of life kind of animes that are more that reference real life, they do that. But yeah, it's funny. But like going back to Dragon Ball Z for a second, we talk all this big hype about it because, but you remember reading about it back then in Japan, that was really originally a comedy anime.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
meant to be
originally a
funny. It
comedy.
wasn't meant to be taken seriously. But when it came here to the States, we're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Everyone was like, what? This is why do you guys think this is supposed to be funny? That's why. But nonetheless, it has become a big hit, and that's why you think Toriyama did so well with it. Now with One Piece, the same thing. Oda, this anime has been running. Well, the manga anime has been running for pretty much 20 years.
Yeah.
Since 1999, the manga started, and the anime started a little after that. So it's grown big. I think they are probably close to reaching 1,000 episodes.
Mm.
I'm currently halfway because I like watching the dub because I think it's better. I think the voice actors and actresses
Yeah, see,
are better suited for the characters. No disrespect to the Japanese voice actors, they're great, but there's just some voices for some characters I get annoyed by. I'm just like, dude, I'll be like, shut the
but
fuck
see,
up, man.
and look,
Hey.
I'm not a
Like I
fan
said,
of
no,
those
and the
voices
same with
either.
other animals.
I'm not a fan of those voices either, but maybe it's because there's something lost in translation. Because yeah, they can translate stuff
Maybe.
to us as best as they can, but maybe there's certain nuances to the language that I'm not understanding. And maybe if I did, it would probably be better for me. And maybe that's why there's some people that really do prefer the sub rather than the dub. But again, it's because maybe I just don't know the language. That's another thing.
Well, it also
I can read the subtitles, but maybe there's a reason why they give the inflections they give, because maybe there's something culturally they do that gives them that ability to do that inflection.
yeah,
But,
true. I mean, but some animes I watch sub, some animes I watch dub, and One Piece I watch dub because I think the voice actors suit the characters really well to
mhm,
me. But
yeah,
like I said, there's a lot of and if you get back into One Piece, make sure you watch the movies. They've made like a movie every year since One Piece started. So that way, it may be filler, but there's also some other side adventures that they do that I think you may like. That's what I'm doing. I didn't notice that One Piece, there was like friggin', I think they're up to like, what, 12,
yeah,
14 movie. So check those out too when
yeah. I
you get
definitely
back
want to
into it.
get
But
in.
I like the dub, so of course I'm behind.
Yeah, I definitely want to
Yeah,
continue
so
into One Piece. I want to finish JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, because come on, I mean, I would like to see things through, even if they aren't the greatest thing. Because sometimes you got to give it a chance. Like I wasn't gonna give Black Clover a chance at first, but I actually started kind of liking it.
No, I said I came up around Black Clover by chance, and I just like, oh, let's see how this is, and it's like I like it. It's very similar to Naruto kind of thing, but it's good. When you do continue, I think you like it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely Black Clover is fun thus far. But even some of the obscure animes that people don't know about. I mean, maybe it's obscure to most people because I mean I hardly ever hear people talk about it. But you and I, we grew up watching Tenchi Muyo, or like the Tenchi series and all of that.
Oh yeah.
Those were pretty badass. It's just my only issue is
Oh
that
yeah, dude.
they
Love that.
stopped doing more episodes after a while, and it could have gone
After
a little bit more, but I just don't know. I guess the writers started running out of ideas and funding too, apparently, because they
I'll
stopped.
have well, I'll have you know that they did continue it.
Oh, they
Like I
did?
said, yeah, they did. They made a
Fuck
fourth.
yeah.
They made a fourth season for OVA. I think it's only like 4 episodes, but they did continue the storyline that will bridge the gap into War on Geminar. And they made a fourth one, and then they're working on a fifth one.
So are they going to work with Gaminar again, or no? Did they just completely abandon
It's leading
Gaminar?
up to
Oh, it's
yeah,
leading
yeah,
up to
yeah.
it? Okay.
It's leading up to they're bridging the gap. Yeah, yeah. It's bridging the gaps of what happened in between.
But
So
but what I'm asking is, do you think they would continue Gaminar after the fact? Because I mean, I would hope they would, because it was actually starting to get pretty interesting.
yeah, yeah, possibly. I don't know yet, but we'll have to see. But as far as the original Tenchimu OVA storyline, they're continuing that, so it should be interesting. They haven't dubbed it. I don't know if they're going to get around to it, but you can go onto any website and listen to it sub. It's pretty good, and the animation, of course, is way better.
Yeah.
It's come a long way since 1992. So yeah, I say the two storylines of Tenchimu, since it was like our OG anime that we first watched, other than Dragon Ball Z, was the original OVA storyline, and then the Tenchi Universe storyline I thought was really good. The one that was a big letdown that I really didn't like was Tenchi and Tokyo. I decided to watch it. I'm like,
Yeah, that one did get
this is a
confusing because
letdown.
there was a lot of things that they totally like abandoned from the other sect of that series, and I was like, okay. It was a little confusing to follow. It was fun, but it wasn't as good. It's like Brotherhood versus the original Full Metal Alchemist. There's a lot of things that were just
Oh
inconsistent and were
yeah, I
straight up
hate it. I'm
abandoned.
sorry, I hated the original Full Metal Alchemist. As I got to the end, I'm like, what the f is this? That didn't make any sense. I was like, nah, dude, sorry. I like the characters, but the way it went, I'm like, But when they came out with Brotherhood, I was like, now we're talking. This is
Yeah,
make more sense, and it just the way it went
yeah,
felt
it
better.
flows better. Definitely, the story plot flows way better.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to choose from out there. I was just there's a lot of ones that I was coming across, like some new ones, some old ones, and just seeing what if I liked it or not. It all depends, man. There's a lot to choose from.
There's one I kind of want to get into. It's Hunter. I definitely want to get into like some of the original animes, like Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. Those I definitely want to get into, but I want to finish those other ones before I get
Yeah,
back to that.
I got into Yu Yu Hakusho. It was great.
Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho is interesting from what
Yeah,
I've
you can go
seen. Like
online
at
and
least
look
some
it up.
clips
It
I've
was good.
seen.
Yu Yu Hakusho was great.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's really all I had to talk about for this segment. In the future, we'll talk about more stuff like this, but we just kind of need to figure out what to talk about specifically. I mean, we might just talk about basic episodes or whatever the case may be, but again, we're still mainly a sports channel, but this is something to kind of let loose a little bit and kind of make it more interesting for you all. As far as future projects I'm doing, I'm working on the Western Conference part of the playoff predictions that I'm doing. I already did the Eastern Conference predictions, and I'll post a link in the description for y'all to watch that. I worked really hard on that one, and that's why the Western Conference video didn't come out recently, because I'm I'm kind of like resting a little bit because it took a lot out of me. Again, I'm still new to this whole editing and fixing stuff of this nature. So bear with me. I will get the videos out as soon as I can. But please be sure to watch them because I really put a lot of effort into it, and it's definitely fun. It's a fun experience, but it would be even more amazing if you all could at least watch it and let me know what you all think, because it would give me more pointers as to what I can work on, what I can fix moving forward. If I'm going to continue something like this, and I want to, I would love to continue this, and then it would help me figure out stuff for my other channel, my music channel, in the future, because I would like to do projects on that. It's just I'm trying to figure out what to approach first, because I've been doing a lot of music videos for that one, like just mainly me singing cover songs, and hopefully in the future when I get a little bit more focused and grounded, I can do my own original works, because I have lyrics to a couple songs. It's just you know orchestrating and composing the piece itself to those lyrics. That's really what it amounts to. I'm getting there, but hopefully, yeah, just bear with me. More content will be coming in the future. But yeah, that's
Yes,
really all
same
I
here,
had for
man.
this
Same
video.
here.
Did you have anything you wanted to add or talk about before we peace out on this?
No, I mean, continue to support my brother's channel. We're still, you know, like I said, we're still getting used to this and new, so we're learning. I'll be starting two channels myself, a gaming channel and a music channel, and trying to put stuff and content out there. So we're working with limited, uh, equipment since it's old, but we'll try to make do with what we got until we get something better. But hey, we won't let that stop us. So yeah, I mean, um, we'll keep going, man. We'll get through this and improve as we go. But yeah, just make sure to like my brother's channel, comment, and subscribe. Same with me. I'll be uh, I'll be posting some stuff in the near future, very soon. Just you'll be hearing from me soon.
Alright, ándale pues. Suscríbete a mi canal. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Adiós. Paz.
Adios.